Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 11 of the Fuck or Suck podcast. Boy, oh boy, do we have an incredible guest for you today. I'm just going to say this right now. This gentleman has worked with Rihanna, Lady Gaga, Adele, Ariana Grande, Kanye West, Robert Downey Jr., Jessica Simpson, Halle Berry, just to name a few. He's a New York Times best-selling author, exercise physiologist, and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you to the show, Harley Pasternack. Mate, how are you?
I'm good. I'm a big fan here in the U.S. I don't have this thing down yet that you do, but
The jazz
I love it.
hands, the jazz hands.
I
Mate,
love
who
it.
did
The
I
jazz
miss?
hands.
Before we crack on too much into it, who did I miss on that list of some of the big names you've worked with?
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Batman, Iron Man, Catwoman, Green Hornet, Jesus in the Passion, Moses in the Ten Commandments, um, Rihanna, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, you name it. Bono, Megan Fox in Transformers. Probably 2/3 or 75% of Hollywood in the last 34 years I've been doing this. And I'm a professor at the University of Toronto and still teach nutrition and exercise physiology. So, yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. And you have your book, The Carb Reset, which we are going to delve deep into the carbs, the fear around carbs. Are they good? Are they bad? If you need to lose weight, should you be having them or avoiding them? We're going to get into that. But before we do, I just wanted to also introduce our co-host, Wes, is in the house with us today. Wes, how are you, brother?
Hello. Very good. Thanks for having me.
Mate, thanks for coming. I'm sure you're excited for this one. Harley is an
yes.
incredible guest, and we just can't wait to get in and unpack a few things. Harley, straight off the Batman. How about that? Straight off the bat, man. Out of all the celebrities you've worked with, first and foremost, just give us a quick rundown on what you did with these celebrities before I ask you this question.
The industry's changed a lot in the last blah, blah number of years. And it used to be that they would come to me for a specific film, a specific project to look a specific way. And then when the film was done, I wouldn't hear from them for another year and a half, and they would just let themselves go and become, fat. Can I swear on here?
Yeah, fucking oath. It's a fuck or suck podcast, man. What are you talking about?
I'm Canadian, so we're overly polite Canadians. They would become fat fucks, and then someone would take a picture of them at a Whole Foods looking very different, and then put it on a celebrity blog back before we had social media, and then it became a thing, and then everyone had a camera phone, and then social media happened, and so now people in Hollywood have to look good all year long, all the time, not
Cool.
just for one specific project. So I take care of their food, their sleep, their fitness, and it's been an awesome period of time. I started writing books about 26 years ago. So I think I just came out with my Carb Reset. I think is my 8th or 9th book, and the books are in 14 languages and 31 countries.
Wow, that is impressive. Out of all the celebrities you work with, who surprised you the most? And I'll leave that as an open-ended question up to your interpretation of who surprised you the most. That can go down any avenue, because you've got not some questionable names, but you've got some big names in there who have been in the spotlight for good and not so good reasons.
Well, the one name you mentioned, not so good, I just, fuck him. He's a horrible, disgusting human being. And so I don't even put him on my list anymore. But everyone else is spectacular and wonderful. And
which one's that, sorry? Did I miss that?
The name, we won't repeat the name, but
okay, yeah,
I've had some incredible people. Most of them are just awesome. Ariana Grande is one of the most kind, wonderful people ever to work with. I work with her, the R&B musician HER, she's just amazing. Work with Lena Headey on Game of Thrones. Work with Rob Pattinson, who became Batman. Robert Downey Jr. became Iron Man. Halle Berry for many, many years became Catwoman. Megan Fox in Transformers. The list goes on, and all these people are they're just awesome to work with. Hip hop artists like Pusha T and Common, pop stars. All these people are just it's really cool to get this one-on-one time, intimate time with them, and realize they're just people. They're just like you and I,
Mhm.
and they still have to lift the weights, and they still have to, eat less cookies themselves. No one can do that for them, and they still have to hit their steps, and they still have to get their sleep. And so
Mm.
it's been an awesome ride.
That just goes to show, right? Just because they're
Yeah.
Superman or Batman doesn't mean that they operate any different to you or I, which is, sometimes people get a little bit out of touch with those sorts of things with celebrities or big social media names because they kind of like disassociate themselves with them, but everyone's just a human at the end of the day. One thing we
Not
like to
only that,
go, sorry,
I
go.
had dinner last night with Wonder Woman and her husband and my wife, and at the end I was like, "Do you guys want dessert?" And she's like, "No, I'm with you. I'm not going to have dessert." And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to order dessert." And she reprimanded me. So it's so funny because the willpower that some of these people have is better than what I have, and maybe better than what the two of you have at times. But
Mm.
yeah, they're just focused and they're hardworking and they're dedicated.
One thing we love to speak about on the podcast is work ethic. It's something that I pride myself in, Harley. And what I would like to ask you out of all those big names, you don't just fall into a place or a role like that without hard work. So, out of all the celebrities, or if I was to ask you the question, if you had one takeaway from out of all the people that you've worked with when it comes down to the best work ethic, who would that be and why?
Wow. Man, there's so many. I'm working with this amazing young actor now, Charlie Plummer, who's doing probably the most physically demanding role I have ever seen in all my years of working in the entertainment industry. And he's having to go from, I'm going to put it in pounds, so please forgive me. But
No,
he's
that's fine.
he's having to go from about 175 pounds to 128 pounds for
Wow.
the first half of a film, and then we shut down production for 8 weeks, and then I got to get him back up to not just full weight, but a lean version of the full weight, which is just extremes, and what he's having to do, and the willpower, and the headaches, and it's just incredible. Or the amazing resilience of somebody like Pusha T, one of my favorite hip hop artists. He'll fly into LA on a red eye, and on the plane he'll text me. He's like, "I land at 5. Can we work out at 5:45?" And I'm like, "Dude, don't you want to sleep?" He's like, "No, I can't miss it. We got to hit the grind. We got to get into it. We got to." Someone like him is just awesome to work with. Comedians like Will Ferrell and Jason Sudeikis, Ted Lasso. Um, he's doing his script on the treadmill, focusing and just dedicated to what he's doing. All of
Mm.
these people there's not one that's more dedicated and have a harder work ethic than the other. They're all absolutely amazing. And then there's some that are sent there against their will for a role that maybe they never wanted to have in the first place. Those people come kicking and screaming, and it's different, but there's not many of them. I mean,
That's
everyone really
rare.
benefits from looking their best. Yeah.
Yeah, and that just goes to show, right? I was actually speaking with a guy this morning and was for training, and he pulled me up in the gym, and I was kind of explaining to him about just that, exactly what you said, Harley. Like, you don't get to be over 1 million followers on social media or in an acting role without having a sickening work ethic. Like, it doesn't just fall in your lap. So those types of people, like you said, you've got your outliers that might be forced into a role, but majority of people show up ready to go above and beyond, and it kind of like
Yeah.
puts it at the forefront of your mind. Would you say, obviously you've been in this game for a very, very long time, newbie to this, but do you get motivated just from, obviously they say you are the 5 people you surround yourself with, obviously you're surrounding
Yes.
yourself with heavy hitters all the time. Like, do you take motivation, and do you feel like you're more driven as an individual just from being around these types of people?
Absolutely. When people talk about, in your industry, who do you look up to, who motivates you, inspires you? With all due respect to my industry, I've been in it before there was an industry. 1992, I started working on films, training actors. The people that I'm inspired by are the people that I work for, and I think you're right. It's funny. I never heard that 5 people that you surround yourself with, but when you see people like Gwyneth Paltrow's work ethic, when you see some of these entertainers, the hours they work on a film set, 12 hours a day, an hour to get their hair and makeup, hour back. Somehow Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande and Jeff Goldblum in Wicked, the hours they'd work, and then they come at the end of the day and they're like, I still have to get my steps in. I still have to do my workout. And sure, maybe I'll get 4.5 hours of sleep instead of 5.5, but I still need to do my workout. And it's just, to see that, it's so inspiring, it's so motivating that it definitely raises the bar for me.
100%. Doesn't just fall in the lap, that's for sure. And it just goes to show anyone listening, don't disassociate yourself and say, well, I'm not Harley. I can't, be this close to these celebrities and get motivation. Like, just know that you don't have to be working with celebrities. You can surround yourself with these people, whether it be watching a YouTube, listening to a podcast, surrounding yourself mentally with these kinds of people as well. And just understanding and knowing exactly what you just said, Harley. Like, at the end of the day, these people are busy just like everyone else. That's the common thing we hear from our clients.
Even busier. I mean,
That's right.
Like Wonder Woman has 4 kids. She has 4 kids. She drops them off at carpool. She picks them up at carpool. She then goes to set. She then does her lines. She then does, I mean, it just doesn't stop. And they usually collapse and go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, just as you say, these people don't have it easier at all. They're just more motivated than you, not you, but then the school teacher, then the lawyer, then the doctor, because their career depends on them looking a certain way, which depends on them being really focused and having a great work ethic.
It just comes down to priorities and how much you want it. And I can totally relate to that personally. Like, that's how, I don't think I've ever spoken about this, but that's how I got to where I am. If I'd driven a 12-hour day, I went to the gym. When I got to my destination, there was no excuses. And some people would call me obsessed and say that's unhealthy, but that's just what you've got to do. You've got to do what other people won't to get what other people don't. And, when you're talking about big names in the industry like that, as we mentioned before, you don't just trip and fall into these positions. So it's refreshing.
But also you can see when they see your content, before you even open your mouth and hear that weird accent of yours, you can see how fit you are, and you can see it tells a lot about a person before they even open their mouth, when you see how much they take care of themselves and the work ethic it takes to be lean and muscular and all those things. So before the accent throws you, you're sucked in by how well you've taken care of yourself.
Yeah, I always knew, Harley, back in the day when I started, I was always going to be that kind of person where, I never wanted to take performance-enhancing drugs. I always wanted to make sure that my work ethic did shine through at the end of the day. And it's taken 15 years to get to where I am. And some people look at me and say, oh, it's an overnight success. All this guy does is fuck or suck videos. But that's what I landed on at the end. But it's been one hell of a grind to get to this point. It's
how long does it take you from researching a segment to getting the ingredients for it, for doing it, to shooting it, to editing it?
Good question.
I mean, if it's a 90-second segment, that does not take you 90 seconds.
4 hours?
Yeah, 4 hours.
4 hours by the time I research, download. Now I've obviously got editor that works for me, but even still, there's captions that you got to choreograph. Like, the things that you say and do, although it's the same fuck or suck a lot of the times, like, there's little things in there, and there's ways that you present it to the audience where it's not just as simple as reviewing a recipe. There's a bit more behind it. And that any good actor or any good social media person will be able to tell you that, you want it to look as simple as possible. You want it to look flawless, but behind the scenes, there's a lot more to it than what meets the eye.
And how many times do you shoot a segment and you just like, it sucks, I'm not going to post it?
Often.
Well, that's part of it. It's like, for every, I don't know, however you do that work, there's some that don't, and people don't see that. People don't understand what goes into that.
Man. And you know what? Like, people don't see, like, exactly that. The ones that don't make it through, or they don't see the 10 attempts of trying to articulate the word or the sentence in the right way where it's going to hit. And sometimes, I can't bulk batch film content. I need to do 3 reels in a day, and I'm cooked because I've mentally got to show up. And although people see a 90-second segment, obviously this is like 3-4 hours behind the scenes to get one together. but there's a lot of work that goes in behind, a lot of energy that goes in behind. I can't just do 15 recipes in one day because you would be able to see it taking its toll in my content. I've got to show up fresh. I've got to show up enthusiastic. I've got to articulate and round my words correctly. It's not just a matter of 90 seconds, press the little red button at the top of the camera and then turn it off, especially if the cook time, Harley. If I've got a recipe that's going to take an hour and a half to cook, like that's where it adds a lot of additional time as well.
Yep.
What else?
Harley,
Where's asked question?
I mean, I would love, I've got so many questions for you, Harley, and I don't know how many of these questions would be interesting for you, but I'm kind of coming from a personal trainer background, right? So obviously both myself, Matt, we started off as personal trainers and then we transitioned into the online space, et cetera, et cetera. But I'm just so curious, first and foremost, like how did you get into the industry that you're in as a celebrity trainer? Like what does one have to do?
I started in the adult entertainment industry. So I was a performer in the adult entertainment industry for many years, called pornography.
Whoa, okay. And then you...
That fucks and sucks.
I was like,
oh my God,
transition.
What fucked and what sucked about the pornography industry? And don't skimp on the detail.
I was a hockey player. I was an ice hockey player in Canada. And I went to university with dreams of being a hockey player. Didn't happen, got hurt. Spent many years in academia, spent 10 years pursuing my PhD in exercise physiology and nutrition, got recruited by the military. I was an exercise and nutrition scientist in the military for many years. And as I did this, I started a personal training business on the side because most Hollywood films are not shot in Hollywood. They're actually shot in Canada. And Vancouver is Asia, and Toronto is New York or London, and Montreal is Paris. It's pretty cool. So I built my business up as I was finishing grad school and then into the military. I built the largest mobile gym in the world. I think in meters, it was 20 meters long, and it would go to film sets. And I worked on a lot of... Yeah. The film would hire a driver, but I'd show up on set and then my gym would be there and I would train whoever was for the film. And the business expanded from Toronto to Montreal to Vancouver. And then I was working on a film called Gothica with Robert Downey Jr., Penelope Cruz, and Halle Berry. And Halle she said, I just got cast as Catwoman. Will you come to Los Angeles with me and help me get ready for the role? And I did. And I wrote a little note to my clients in Canada. I said, I'll be gone for 6 weeks. I'll be right back. And I never came back because when I landed there, I got a call from Mila Jovovich, who's the lead of Resident Evil, and then Orlando Bloom, who's doing a movie, and then Rachel Weisz, who was doing Constantine, and then I got really busy. And I don't know if it ever made to Australia, but Oprah Winfrey, did her show make it to Australia?
Yeah, yes. Man, Oprah Winfrey, back in the day when I was a kid, like midday TV was Dr. Phil and Oprah Winfrey. Oprah was after Dr. Phil. And
Dr. Phil got his appearance on Oprah Winfrey. She owned his show.
Wow.
He was a guest on her show. So, but yeah, she was the biggest thing in television. She had me on at Halle's peak, and and she's like, you should write a book. And I was like, okay. And I just locked myself in a room, like I should write a book. And at the time, the work I was doing in the military, I was creating this protocol called multiple variation training, which was this really simplified way of training where you keep changing the variables. Instead of increasing the volume and increasing the intensity, you would just change the variables. And so that's how I would train my clients. And I was thinking, okay, like Halle, how did we work for Catwoman? Well, we filmed Monday through Friday, so we'd work out during lunchtime, Monday through Friday. Lunchtimes were 30 minutes. So I had about 25 minutes with her, and we would do 5 minutes of cardio warm-up, and then 5 minutes of upper body, 5 minutes of lower body, 5 minutes of core, and 5 minutes of cardio cool down, 5 days a week, 5-minute phases. 5-factor fitness. And so that was the first book I wrote, and it did very well internationally. And then the second book I wrote was about how I would, do my nutrition plans for my clients. We would eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and a snack between each. There was 5 times a day, and each meal had 5 factors, 5 criteria. I created 100 recipes with 5 ingredients, 5 minutes or less, 5 steps or less, 5-factor diet. And then the next book, I was touring with U2 and, going all over the world. And I noticed that everyone was healthier than the fat Americans. And I was like, what are they doing? Look, Japan's eating tons of rice, but they're so fit and lean and live forever. And same with South Korea and Singapore and China and Finland, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, all these places. And I wrote a book called The World Diet, about how everyone else is doing better than us and what we can learn from them. And then, I just kind of went from there. And I was a judge on Top Model for many years. Did you have a show, Top Model?
Yeah. Top Model.
I
Yeah.
remember Top Model. Yeah.
And I was we have a show called The Today Show, which was the biggest morning show for years in the US. And I was on the Kardashian show for many years. And just, that's the
Wow.
business. And then starting about 16 years ago, I started designing gyms for my clients for their homes. And then I did a multifamily property, then a hotel. So now we're the largest gym design firm in the globe. We design almost all the Four Seasons hotels around the world, a lot of the Aman hotels, all the Alo gyms. And so it's been a great ride.
That is absolutely surreal. And obviously you
Actually,
just...
have you used the dual cable pulley in the gym?
Yes.
You know, the functional trainer, the dual adjustable pulley?
Yeah,
Yeah.
So I
absolutely.
invented that 29 years ago
Holy moly.
for a
Wow.
company called Icarian that got bought by Precor. And
Precor.
now everyone makes them. Yeah.
That is fucking incredible. Wow, you've just and you did a speed run through everything that you've kind of done. I'm sure there's a lot that you also missed out on, but how did all that feel? I mean, going from, I can only imagine, right? Going from being a trainer to then getting asked to come in and work for these big names. Like, how did that feel in the moment?
It didn't suck. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It was,
That
you
fucked.
just, I learned to say yes to everything early on. Like
Yeah.
any opportunity, like, yes, I'm in. Can you try? I'm there, done. I just, when you're young, you just have to say yes to everything. And I failed at a lot of stuff. I didn't mention all the stuff I failed at. I probably did 20 infomercials. I think one made money. I've tried to open gyms, like standalone gym, horrible. I've done infomercial. I've done kitchen appliances. I've done running shoes. I've done Nintendo and Xbox games. Didn't make any money. So I say yes to everything. I want to try everything. And I think along the lines, even in your failures, you learn. And
That's
I think
where
I failed just as
Harley,
much as I've succeeded.
I personally think the failures are the thing that teaches you the most. The failures are what teaches you what not to do, and they make it so much better when you do succeed. In my opinion,
Yeah.
I feel like I owe all my success to my failures. And what do they say? Fail fast, fail forward.
Oh, I like that. I like
Yeah.
that. Fail faster. I like that. I'm gonna say I came up with. Can I actually edit
take
that
it,
part
brother,
out?
take it. I've
From
got the
now on,
Fox
I'm
of
going to
Duck
use
thing
it. And I'm
going.
going to say, I invented this thing. I just shared it with my friends Matt and Wes. I'll share it with you.
Yeah.
My wife told me yesterday. Another great saying is, she told me yesterday that someone just told her. Now she's using it all the time. We saw a friend the other day, and our friend is beautiful. She's like breathtaking. She's not the brightest bulb on the Christmas tree. And my wife says, God doesn't give with two hands.
That's very true, bro. So I like that one too. Yeah. The failures in the moment suck, but the failures when you make it, fuck. 100%.
Yeah.
Because without the failures, because that's what makes you so grateful for when, when the success comes or when it does work out. It's the failures that keep you grounded whilst you're at the top. Because I've seen many, and you may have seen these too, Harley, like people that scale the ladder quickly, more quickly than others. And a lot of the time they built their foundations on a straw house. And once they get to the top, because there was no struggle, no failures, which sometimes does happen, a lot of the time they can't maintain it. Because for me anyway, I've had 15 years of failures to get to where I am, and I feel so grateful every single day. Every single day I wake up and I'm so grateful for the success, for my audience, for everything that's going on in my life. And I credit it all back to every single failure that I've had, and it just makes me grateful. So I think failures are an important thing as much as they do suck in the moment.
So you gave me a great saying. Do each one of you have another saying that you really use that's helped you a lot? Like a philosophy that sounds, it's a great soundbite. So I need to steal these.
Mine is,
You go, Wes.
you can't fail if you never quit. That's one that I say to myself all the time.
Fail. Right.
You can't
Okay.
fail
I
if
like
you
that.
never quit.
I like that.
It helps me.
Great.
I mean,
Especially
I think I steal my one from Jocko Willink, and it's discipline equals freedom. There's no such thing as motivation. Discipline equals freedom. I really love that. I love the book Extreme Ownership. A lot of my followers know that I'm a big Jocko fan, and I take a lot of motivation and drive from him and
Have you
his
seen him
philosophy.
speak? Have you gone to see him speak?
Not in person, because I had his tickets booked when he came to Australia, but ended up getting cancelled. His tour got cancelled. But we actually had one of his leadership team members from Echelon Front, Rob Jones, W amputee. He was actually our first guest on the Fuck or Suck podcast, and he's very close to Jocko, and it was an honor to have on and speak to him. Just everything they stand for. What about yourself, Harley? Have you seen Jocko speak?
I have. I hadn't heard of him before because I was not in the U.S. military. I was in another one. And a friend of mine who was a Navy SEAL, who's a good friend of mine, he invented TRX. You know the TRX straps?
Yeah. Who's that?
Randy Hetrick.
That
And
name
I
rings
know
a bell.
Randy
Yeah.
was in the service, but I know that's where he invented the TRX straps in the service. You know, there's something to work out with. But I didn't know what he did in the service. And Randy's like, "Hey, are you in town tomorrow night? I've got to go to this charity thing. Will you be my +1?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." And we go to the Beverly Wilshire Hotel. You know, that's where they filmed Pretty Woman. Very fancy hotel. I'm not dressed for this. He didn't tell me how formal it was. And it was for the fallen Navy SEALs. It was for their families, a fundraiser for their families, the fallen Navy SEALs. And so we get there, and all of these Navy SEALs are there, and these high-ranking military officials are there, and they're all saluting him, and they're, you know, like, I'm like, "What are you doing? What are they?" You know, it's just fucking the TRX dude. And anyways, he goes to the bathroom, and one of them's like, "Well, how do you know Commander Hetrick?" I'm like, "Commander Hetrick?" He's like, "Yeah, he was the head of the SEAL team. I think SEAL Team 6. He's like one of the most decorated SEALs of all time." You know, like, my buddy Rand, there's no way. And so we go, and Jocko is the MC of the event, and he's up there, and I've never heard him speak before. And I'm digging my nails into my chair as I hear him talk, the intensity, like the passion, you know, and he's talking about my buddy sitting next to me. And my buddies, you know, they're like, "Commander Hetrick, stand up," and you know, he's giving a hero round of applause. And my buddy Randy stands up. I'm like, "Dude, sit the fuck down. Like, this is you." And it was super cool. So him and Jocko are very close, and they served together, and it was very cool. Jocko was what a speaker, just amazing.
He's a man of leadership. If the world goes down and aliens abduct the universe or the Earth, I want Jocko as our main man at the front line.
Now he did lose me a bit with the whole supplement line.
You know why you don't like his supplements?
I just feel like, you know, when you really respect someone as you see them as something bigger than someone who's going to do a licensing deal selling protein powders and energy drinks. You know, in my mind, it's like, oh gosh, you're just like all the others. No, I guess you need money too, so it's fine.
Yeah, everyone needs to make a buck.
Yeah.
But I think that would be that's my one thing. You know, discipline equals freedom. I've got a lot of those little things. I think, like in terms of metaphors, I like or proverbs. I like the Chinese proverb of the maybe so, maybe not. Have you heard that one?
No, what's that one?
It's a Chinese proverb, and basically there's a farmer and a neighbor. And the neighbor comes over to the farmer's place, and he has a horse that's run away. And he says, "That's actually very unfortunate. I've seen that your horse has run away." And he said, "Maybe so, maybe not." And then anyway, the farmer's neighbor goes back home, and he comes back the next day, and this horse has actually brought back a bunch of brumbies, like a bunch of other horses. And his neighbor comes over the next day, and he says, "Oh man, you're so lucky." And he said, "Maybe so, maybe not." And the next day he comes back again, and the farmer's son is out there riding one of the horses, breaking them in, and he falls off and breaks his leg. And the farmer's neighbor comes over and says, "Man, that's so unfortunate that your son has broken his leg." And he says, "Maybe so, maybe not." Goes away, and the Chinese militia are coming around the next day because they've all been called to war, and the neighbor's son gets taken to war, and he comes over, and he can't take the farmer's son because he's got a broken leg. And he says, "Man, you are so lucky." And he says, "Maybe so, maybe not." And the metaphor behind that is sometimes in life we think that things are bad that are happening to us. At the time, they're shit, but a lot of the time, there's something good that comes from it. So I always like that one. In the struggle, remember that down the track, kind of what we were talking about before, it can circle back and it can actually be a really good thing.
That's cool. I like that one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah, I like that. Wes, what do
It's
you got?
simple.
Give me some.
Give us
Come on. You got any wisdom for me, Wes? What do you got?
I got this Zimbabwe proverb. No, I don't. I got nothing after that. I got nothing after that.
I got three. The one I operate my entire life upon is Viktor Frankl. Do you ever read the book Man's Search for Meaning?
Yes.
So he says you cannot pursue success because success, much like happiness or wealth or health, can only happen as a byproduct of dedicating yourself to a process. The more you aim at the end goal, the more you'll miss it. So that's why I've never weighed a client. I've never measured their body fat. I've never measured their anthropometric measurements. All we do is focus on their inputs. And then the other two are also Chinese. One was Bruce Lee. I fear not the man who knows 1,000 kicks. I fear the man that knows one kick 1,000 times. I love that one. And no man steps in the same river twice because he is not the same man and it's not the same river.
I like that. The Bruce Lee.
That one I read in a fortune cookie.
I need to know. I need to understand that one. Explain that one.
All right. So when I step into a river the first time, right, I gather so much information about that river. And when I get out of the river, I'm not the same person. My feet are wet. I stumbled. I might have cut my foot. I don't know. I realized how cold it was. I didn't really know how to cross it. And the next time I come back to the river might not be flowing at the same speed. It might not be the same temperature. There might be different rocks at the bottom. The river's different, but I'm also different because I learned a lot going through the river the first time. And so, everything we do, when we do that thing again, we're not the same person the first time we did it. And chances are the thing we're doing is different than it was the first time.
I really like that.
I love these ones where they can mean two different things to different people as well, depending on your own experiences. Like someone may hear that or take that metaphor and they may have a different meaning to them. You know what I mean? I like the Bruce Lee one as well. Learn one kick really well rather than 1,000 times rather than 1,000 kicks once.
Well, that's why I don't teach my clients how to do rehab or sports injury stuff. Cause I took a course in university, but I'm not the best at that. So give that to someone who just does that all day. I'm not a performance guy. If you want to be an athlete and you want to be a better basketball player, runner, I guess I would know how to do it, but go to someone who only does that. It is the best at it. And I think the problem is we live in a period of time where everyone's the authority of everything and it sucks.
That does suck. Super suck.
Yeah.
Harley, before we get into talking about some of the more controversial things that we're going to have on the podcast, if you were to give one lesson that you've learned from Hollywood and all these big names that you've worked with, for the people listening, what's one thing that they could apply immediately that you've learned from these people and just being in this Hollywood industry? What's one thing that people listening can implement immediately now into their lives?
I would walk around your block once before you leave every day. I know that sounds simple and minimal, but starting your day with a structured bit of physical movement, as simple as walking around the block before your day even begins, physically, and also that's sort of a moment to think about and ponder and reflect upon what's about to happen in your day. And then I do the same, then when you do that and you've done that for a couple weeks, okay, now every day you come home, before you go in your home, walk around the block once. And now you've done steps in the morning around your block. At the end of the day, you've done steps around your block. Before you go in your house, you can reflect on the day, make a phone call a friend, whatever it is. And it's this great buffer period. So I would, as simple as that is, start with that.
Yeah. And for those listening, just take a moment to pause and think about what Harley just said. That reminds me of the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. The small things that we do, it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. Harley didn't say, you need to make this lemon drink with a little bit of cream of tartar and a dash of lemon and all these types of things. He didn't try to hook you on something that sounds sexy. He said something that was so simple, you think it's just too simple to do. But the simple things done well over a period of time are what makes someone, a successful person, not only physically but mentally as well, right? It's those repetitions of the boring stuff, the simple habits done time and time again that prevail winnings at the end.
I like that.
All right, let's get into the juicy shit. Why the fuck are people so scared of carbohydrates? What has happened to the world, Harley? Unleash your fury.
I think it started really. I mean, there's been different times over the years where people have gone to these lower zero carbohydrate diets. Before we were able to isolate insulin, Banting and Best in University of Toronto were able to isolate insulin. Diabetics, especially type 1, could not eat carbohydrates, and so they would only be able to survive on a zero carbohydrate diet. I think there was the popularity of Dr. Atkins, who was a surgeon, and a lot of the patients he needed to operate on were obese, and it wasn't safe for them to go under anesthesia. So he came up with this fucking nut job, extreme, radical zero carbohydrate diet to help them rapidly lose weight so they could go under anesthesia and have a operation. At no point was this diet healthy. At no point was this supposed to be a lifestyle or something they did after they had their operation. But people were like, wow, I lost so much weight so quickly. And the weight they were losing was primarily water weight. When you cut out carbs, there's 4 grams of water stored for every gram of carbohydrate. So you were just squeezing your sponge of your liquid out of your body. But that really became popular because if you want to see the scale move, there's no faster way to see it move than to lose your body water. And there's no faster way to lose your body water than to cut carbs. So I think for people who are really into scales and into losing weight, not fat, but losing weight, cutting carbs is the fastest way to do that. And so I think that's really originally where it came from.
Mm.
And then you had the things like the keto diet. By the way, have either one of you done the keto diet?
No.
Yeah, I have.
I've done
it.
it a brief period at a very low body fat to try and get a little bit leaner.
Have you ever smelt your breath on a keto diet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's bad.
Putrid.
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad.
Keto breath.
The keto diet, and you have all these different diets along those lines that are just super low carbohydrate, and science never supported it. And then you had Gary Tobes, who was a journalist, and you had, I think, one other guy who were very vocal 20 years ago about writing books about cutting carbs, where they had the whole glucose insulin argument that if you eat carbs, you have this insulin rush. And when you have the insulin rush, then it takes too much blood sugar out of your bloodstream. And then you have this increase in hunger. And the increase in hunger makes you consume more calories. And consuming more calories puts you in a caloric surplus. And that's why you gain weight. It's fucking wrong. It's always been wrong. It's been shown to be wrong. At the end of the day, it's calories in versus calories out. And even their ridiculous theory is calories in, calories out. And, if their thing was correct, then obese people wouldn't be hungry anymore. And they're fucking hungry. They're really hungry.
Yeah.
So, at the end of the day, it's calories in versus calories out. There's great case studies of academics proving this point. One of them went on do you know what Twinkies are? Do you have them there?
Yeah. We got Twinkies here in Australia.
Twinkies, Ding Dongs, and Ho Hos. They're all from Hostess. It's like really unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So he went on a Twinkie, Ding Dong, Ho Ho diet only for 60 days, and he lost like 44 pounds. Yeah. Or there was a professor in Ohio who went on a potato diet only for 30 days and lost like 14 kilo. So you can lose weight, as you know, I'm singing to the choir here, eating only chocolate cake, eating anything. But at the end of the day, it's calories in versus calories out. And some of them are a lot healthier than others.
But insulin resistance, but hormones, but. Look, at the end of the day, we're not saying to go and eat only potatoes and Twinkies. We're just stating the fact, I always like to use the example, Harley, like I always say, did you hear about those 14 backpackers that got lost in the woods for 2 weeks and they all came back heavier? No. listen to yourself when you say that. Like, it's impossible. Like, you never hear anyone get stuck on a deserted island where they've got no calories and they come back heavier or can't lose weight. There's the show Alone. There's a show Alone. I'm sure you've probably heard about that. They dropped 10 people into the wild. They've done several seasons on it. No one ever comes back heavier than they go in. But the point is, I think a lot of people get wound up and caught up on the fact that, oh, you're just a calories in, calories out guy. No. We are saying to prioritize whole nutrient dense foods, but we're just stating the fact that at the end of the day, it does come down to that. And I think a lot of people get thrown off because they're not eating the correct amount of calories, or, if they are tracking, they're not tracking correctly, or they're overindulging, or they're eating too much of the wrong things, or they're eating too much of the good things, which very rarely happens that someone's overindulging on healthy foods, but it can happen, especially if they're still indulging in those processed foods, but mostly eating healthy. Do you know what I mean? So,
oh yeah, you can get fat eating organic almonds and fucking avocados. You could get
olive
really
oil,
fat
yeah.
eating.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You know, an interesting stat I talk about in the book. In the last 50 years, the average American consumes about 800 calories more per day, from 1972 to 2022. 800 calories more per day. So
yeah,
that's
and how much less are people moving as well? People are moving so much less, working from home. We've got so much accessibility to food to your door these days. Like, we're moving so much less. Our jobs are becoming way less physically demanding. We've got AI doing everything for it.
Absolutely. You're 100% right. But obviously the extra caloric intake is the biggest factor in consuming and having that caloric surplus. Of those 800 calories, how many of those calories do you think come from additional sugar out of 800? 42.
Wow.
People think, and I'm not saying sugar's good, and I don't want people to overeat sugar. The majority of those additional calories comes from added oils. Added oils. I'm not a anti-seed oil guy, just so you know. It's just oil in general, whatever oil, any oils.
Yeah.
And so when people think that they're eating carbohydrates, they're eating fat. So, crisps, French fries get most of their calories from fat, not from carbohydrates. Donuts get most of their calories from fat, not from carbohydrates. And so quite often people don't realize that everything they're eating has got some kind of oil or some kind of fat thrown into it. And it's the most calorically dense macronutrient, as you know. So people's consumption is just so high. And as I traveled the world, I realized that everyone else is eating carbohydrates and not obese and not getting diabetes, heart disease, and cancers like we do here in the West. And so what's wrong with carbohydrates? I don't get it. And I was a former bodybuilder. And as a bodybuilder, I was that good. I was not a good bodybuilder, but the good ones are great examples of the leanest human beings on earth, right? Striations, you can see their veins, you can see everything. They eat carbs every day, every meal, and they achieve the leanest body fat possible. So why again are we running away from carbs? I just don't understand.
Harley, in your opinion, why does fear-based nutrition always spread like wildfire and people feed into it rather than the balanced approach?
Dopamine. People get a dopamine response from something that is jarring, different, exaggerated, eccentric, against the grain. I mean, let's do this. Why don't we all tomorrow make a post? Hey guys, sleeping is good. Walk some extra steps and have a healthy diet. Let's see how that post does.
Boring.
Let's see how that common sense does. You're like, oh God. Now let's make another post. Toothpaste will fucking kill you. Click, 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 click. And all of these, I call them bio crappers. All of these guys, who are fear-mongering and posting online. First of all, none of these guys have any backgrounds in the field, whether it be academically, clinically, or in applied levels. They haven't seen clients one-on-one for many years or coach people, and they've all failed at something else. And so I don't want to name them by name, but one of them is hysterical. He wears these fucking ridiculous glasses. They look like sunglasses, yellow sunglasses inside all the time. And he did this whole thing about if you stare at screens too much, it's bad for your eyes, and one day you'll need glasses. But if you buy my glasses, you'll never need reading glasses. What? Wait. if I buy your glasses, I'll never need real glasses. I'll just have to wear your yellow silly glasses. So it's stuff like that. People click on. They're like, wow, I'm going to save your eyes forever. They'll click on it and then they'll buy his glasses.
Yeah, look, to be open and transparent as well, Harley, like we all need to somewhat feed into this, but it's kind of like a superpower of being able to captivate an audience, but then where you direct them after you've got their attention, kind of like where does that sit with your morals? And my question is, like, a lot of these people are coming out with these crazy, jarring diets that stop people in their tracks. Do you personally truly believe that they believe in themselves, or have they tricked themselves into believing that what they are saying is right to fill their own pockets? What's your take? Do you think that they genuinely think that's the thing, or are they doing it more so for self-benefit?
I think it's both. I think quite often they don't understand the science behind it or the mechanism behind what they're talking about. So they create a story in their mind that makes sense to them without understanding how the thing they're talking about actually works. Or they're trying to find their truth, and their truth sounds good to them. And they want to make sure as many people as possible follow their truth. And their truth generally benefits them in some kind of financial way, whether it be directly through selling a product or service that that person probably does not need, or whether it's just to get someone's attention to build an audience to then at some point cash in on that audience. I do believe that.
They've convinced themselves, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of narcissistic people, if they do have traits of narcissism, they tell themselves something enough, even if they didn't believe it in the beginning, that they do believe it because it's going to benefit themselves, whether it comes in the form of money, followers, fame.
Absolutely. Do you know what the Dunning-Kruger effect is?
Tell us.
Yeah, Wes, you know the Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yeah, tell us.
It's when people are too dumb to know that they're too dumb, basically. No, really, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fucking so true. 100%. I laugh because I think that every day, Harley.
It's like if I'm going to tell you about Australian politics. I know about Australian politics. Let me tell you, I don't know what I'm talking. I really don't. But people really do believe that, and they're too dumb to know that they don't know the thing they're actually talking about.
Yeah. They don't know how much they don't know.
Right. Exactly.
Out of all the carb myths there is, Harley, what's the one that frustrates you the most?
Is that carbs make you fat, and that the only way to lose weight is by cutting carbs. I think that really does. The idea that carbs make you fat, and not understanding that carbs in their natural state are probably one of the most important things you can possibly do to lose body fat, keep it off, be healthy, reduce your chances of colon cancer, reduce your chance of type 2 diabetes. Carbs in their whole natural state. A whole potato, a baked potato is great. French fries are not. Mashed potatoes are not as good. An apple's great. Apple juice is not as great. So the closer you can get to a carb in its natural state, the better it is as a pillar to build your diet around.
Whole nutrient dense foods, baby. And that's where people go so wrong. Ultra processed foods, not moving as much. It all comes back to those strong habits, less stress, not sleeping as well. Those types of things are what is causing the issue, not a slice of bread every now and again.
Exactly. By the way, my book was originally called Skinny People Eat Bread, and my politically correct publishers wouldn't let me call it that because it's tongue in cheek, right? And they're like, you can't use the word skinny. But, I was using it sort of tongue in cheek. I still think it would be a great title for a book.
Let's talk about that really quickly. Sorry, Wes, I just have one more question. So,
please.
Why you're pushing a sensible message, Harley? So you're competing against all these people that are jarring with what we've just been speaking about. How have you managed to get your message, your books out and be successful in a world of nonsense?
I'm not going to lie. It's really tough. I think when I'm able to communicate the message on a platform like this, when I'm able to, when I launched the book, I launched it on a big morning TV show in New York. The book did very well right away. It went to become a bestseller because I was able to communicate it. And when you communicate it, you have that common sense message, and people really connect with it. And they're like, "Oh, it's a sigh of relief." They're like, "Oh, finally some common sense." And when they hear it, it makes sense to people. When people are doing crazy crap, they know they're doing crazy crap. They know they're doing something nuts. But part of them's like, I'm just so desperate, I'll try anything. But for someone to come on who has a good body of work, they see all their favorite physiques that they love from actresses and different public figures are people that I work with. They're like, well, if so-and-so listens to him, then I should listen to him and hopefully it'll work. But I have a question for you. What's the worst recipe you've tried so far? The most disgusting, and then what's the best one you've tried so far?
The most disgusting, the one that's like a super suck, is like the AI cheesecake recipe where it was just an egg and Greek yogurt. It just tasted like sour curdled shit. Not that I've eaten shit, but I can imagine what it would taste like. That was a super suck where I turned into the devil and struggled to actually get back into main character. That one was definitely the suckiest suck of them all. And I would say the best super fuck. That's a good question. There's been like a honey soy chicken, like the meal prep ones. There was one last year, it was a honey soy chicken recipe, I think. One of those ones. And then there was like a lemon biscuit based cheesecake as well. That one was pretty damn good. But I would say out of those two, the one that sucked the most was definitely that fucking AI piece of shit. I'm struggling with the AI recipes.
How was that bread, or that like egg white bread, egg white loaf, egg white cloud bread, or I saw you make it once.
That was a suck, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a suck. But like how much did it suck?
Because I've done some cloud breads that have been good. But there was one cloud bread that I did with just chocolate chips and egg whites, and it was just sucked. It just tastes like eggs. It just tastes like an omelet with egg whites. But you can make cloud bread. Like I made a coffee cloud bread. Like if it's got enough good flavors in it, it doesn't really taste like an eggy taste. But there has been a couple of cloud breads that have sucked and some that have fucked. There was one actually recently, not too long ago, the one that I did before, and that was actually a fuck. Like if you put the right flavorings in there, and if you are in a calorie deficit and you are hungry enough, it tastes good. And I just wanted to remind everyone, and I think you probably would have seen this, Harley, and obviously you would know for yourself, but if you are in a calorie deficit, you do get a little bit more experimental, and some foods that you wouldn't normally think taste good when you're in a calorie deficit, they actually taste pretty damn good. Like you put like a 4 or 5 ingredient brownie and cook it in the microwave for 2 minutes. If you're in a calorie deficit, that thing tastes fucking amazing. But if you're full and you're overindulging, and I think that's where a lot of people mistake the recipes because they think they're going to be better than the brownie they buy down at the Costco or down at the bakery. It's not going to taste as good as a full sugared, delicious brownie like that. However, if you're in a deficit and you're hungry after dinner, these are the perfect recipes to be able to, satiate you with higher protein and not quite taste as good. But they're not meant to be Michelin star.
I would be honored one day if you look through my Instagram at all my recipes, if one day you pick one and you see if it fucks or sucks.
Oh, man, I'm going to do that straight after this podcast.
Oh, but I hope it's a good one because, now I'm worried.
Wow, you're going to be on the edge of your seat, man.
I'll be honest with you. The most viral thing I ever did was this green soup I did about a year ago. And I think it had like 10 million views.
I'm doing it.
Yeah, and it's this green broccoli soup. If you like vegetable soup, it's really fucking good. And people know me as the green soup guy. It doesn't matter what else I've done in my life. I'm somewhere in an airport. They're like, "Oh, you're the green soup guy," and I just want to smack the shit out of them. But that one was really, really viral. I do a really good cinnamon ball donuts, like high protein cinnamon ball donuts. French toast is one of my favorite ones of all time. Some baked apples, a lot of stuff with apple cinnamon.
Well, we got to do the controversial one. I think we got to go for the soup.
Okay, yeah.
Get ready.
Oh, and the bagel. Have you done the 2-ingredient bagel yet with the Greek yogurt and flour?
Yeah, last year, I think. That's not bad. If you make them right, they're good. Did you use almond flour or regular flour?
I used self-rising regular flour.
Yeah. Almond flour, not so good. Regular flour,
no.
Good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Almond flour gets grainy.
Yes, very grainy.
Just talking about your most recent book, The Carb Reset, talk about, so Wes and I, we do get our clients to actually track calories. We are under the belief of what gets measured gets managed. And there's more than one way to skin a cat. Like, we agree on our values 100% from, our discussions and everything we've spoken about. But you've got something called the PATH method. Now, first and foremost, explain the PATH method to us, but then I want you to take into consideration for the people that you generally work with. Obviously, they're highly motivated individuals. However, people reading your book are just the average Joe, right? So would you say people doing the information out of the book, applying the PATH method, can continue on? Is the goal for people to be able to build an understanding through the PATH method and then take what they've learnt and continue on and slowly stop doing that and intuitively eat? Like, what's your
Yeah,
messaging
exactly.
and what's it do?
As a former bodybuilder, I had a crazy orthorexia, I brought a scale to every restaurant. I took it to extreme. I had for sure an eating disorder and physique dysmorphia and all the other stuff. And having worked with so many people that make their living on camera, the amount of eating disorders and physique disorders and unhealthy relationships with food. And so I think keeping track of your macros and your calories is such a helpful tool. And it's so great for people to realize, like, oh my gosh, I'm eating that much. And so I think it does make sense. But I think the goal is to stop doing that at some point, hopefully,
Awesome.
and understand, like, what's the more long-term approach that is less empirical. And so I find the happy medium is using your hands and following the path, PATH. Each meal, people have a palm full of carbohydrates, whether it be a whole grain, whether it be a sweet potato, whether it be legumes, whether it be fruits, whatever fits in your palm. And A in PATH stands for all the vegetables you want. You don't have to keep track. You can have an unlimited amount of vegetables. There are no vegetables really with any amount of caloric density to them whatsoever. An avocado is a fruit.
Didn't you hear about that guy that got super fat from eating broccoli, Harley? Neither did I.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right. And T in the word path is for thumb of healthy fat. So the mass of your thumb from the base to the tip, avocados, nuts, seeds, olives, right over here. And then H is hand, at least the mass of your hand of protein. Chicken, fish, egg whites. Notice I said egg whites. I'll come back to that after. Tofu, Greek yogurt, etc. The reason why I say egg whites, and you know this as well as anybody else, is an egg is 75% fat. An egg is just as much protein as a peanut is. They are mainly fat sources that have some protein. And so in order to get enough protein in a meal, you obviously can't do it from eating whole eggs. You'd have to eat up so many goddamn eggs. So I just have people, use this. And if you want to have a yolk, great. That's part of your fat. Great. That's part of your sum of fat. But the protein itself, I just call it an egg white until people learn more and they get more relaxed and they get into the lifestyle thing. So following the path, palm of carbs, all the vegetables you want, thumb of fat, at least the mass of your hand, H, of protein. And look, you're going to be very close to your macro goals. You might not be perfect, but overall, the average of your day and your week, you're going to be pretty darn close, and you didn't need any numbers to do it. So it's not as precise as what you're doing at all, but it is a lot easier. It's a lot more sustainable. It's a lot more doable. And then at some point, you don't need to do it at all.
We basically run the same method. Wes, do you want to explain our 3-phase system of strip, control, release?
Yeah, so we take our clients through the strip phase is obviously the deficit, so we can help them remove all of the body fat as much as you want until they feel comfortable fucking with the lights on. That's the goal. But through that process, we teach them how to obviously track their food, but we also use a very data-driven approach where we do track their body weight on a daily basis, and then we also use that data to collect the averages, and then we compare the averages, and so we have that precision. Through that, we obviously build habits and stuff, but then that leads into the control phase. So once they've gotten to their goal, the control phase is that in-between phase where we bring them out of the deficit back to caloric maintenance, and then we kind of sit there for about 4 weeks until hormonal regulation comes back in. They hunger cues start to become normal again because they're sitting at maintenance. But then the release phase, and this is like the most important phase, where we get them to a point where, the objective of the release phase is us releasing them back into the wild, into real life without the tracking, without the constant measuring of everything. And we teach them how to like step away from tracking everything and actually, transition into more of an intuitive way of eating so that they never have to track again. That's in a nutshell.
I like that. I like that.
We're skinning the same cat, just in a little bit of a different way.
We're skinning the same cat. Yep, exactly. Yep.
Now,
I like that.
I reckon it's time to talk about some people that maybe not skinning the same cat.
Yeah.
Wes, do you want to bring up a little video so we can see if this one fucks or sucks? Now, Harley, one of the other things that I do outside of my regular fuck or sucks is I like to review viral content through health and fitness on people's opinions and let people know whether their opinion fucks or sucks. So here we have a recent video that's been sent to me, and I want you to watch this video and let me know your opinion on whether you think this advice fucks or sucks.
Hopefully you can hear this.
Yeah.
Is actually 6. The potato obviously depends on its size. That's quite a big one. 150 grams of boiled rice. 8, 9, and 10. So that's the winner.
I thought rice was healthy.
Each of those cubes of sugar represents a 4-gram teaspoon of sugar. That's the single fact around the world. Carry on. That's one of my teaspoon of sugar charts.
Bang! Now slam down the phone.
Hold on. Give me, what's that guy's name who's presenting all the sugar cubes?
Dr.
David Unwin. Dr. David Unwin.
Dr. David Unwin. Okay, I need to Google how old he is. Okay. So first of all, Dr. David Unwin is a general practitioner medicine. So as you know, medical doctors get a 90-minute lecture in first-year med school. That's the entirety of a nutrition training, a 90-minute lecture in first-year med school. 742 years ago, it says. He's fucking horrible. He's why people have eating disorders. He doesn't get it. He's so fucking wrong on every level. Taking carbohydrates and just breaking them down to cubes of sugar and not talking about that potato has skin on it. It has fiber. It has potassium. It has water. There's volumetrics. It's going to fill a person up for 100 calories. It's a big ass white baked potato. He's not talking about, these aren't just cubes of sugar people are eating. They're wrapped in fiber. There's protein there. There's healthy fats. There's so many other factors. He's part of this fear-mongering. He's part of the person who's looking at it in a silo. That's like taking a whole bunch of proteins and just putting down a bit of arginine. Look at all the arginine in here. But nobody gives a shit about arginine. It's a basic unit of a larger food. He's taking a large food that has so many incredible things to it and breaking it down to the basic glucose once it's broken down into the body in a very healthy, effective way. There is nothing wrong with that. And the foods that he's scaring people off of are healthy foods, and he needs to shut the fuck up.
I love it.
Super suck!
Yeah. Super fuck.
Super suck, man. We're going to turn into the devils.
Super suck.
Super suck. Now, talk about us, the rice there. He was like, the way that they're articulating the rice, you say, you went to Asia and you saw all of these fit people eating rice every single day. So what is this sugar cubes against the rice? And they are questioning whether, I thought rice was good. Harley, why are they saying that?
So I think a lot of this also comes from, I had professors in grad school, Dr. Jenkins and David Jenkins and Thomas Walliver, and they were the ones that came up with the glycemic index with some professors in Australia, actually. It was the team of them. And the glycemic index, for those people watching who don't know, obviously the two of you know, is the impact of a single food on someone's blood sugar. A single food on someone's blood sugar. No one has a meal of fucking rice. That's not a meal. They're having rice and it has vegetables and it has chicken and it has tofu and it has oil and it has all these other things. And so the glycemic load of food that has rice and that has protein and has fat and has fiber, the glycemic index is irrelevant of that single ingredient. No one is having a meal of that single ingredient, first of all. Second of all, it doesn't matter what your blood sugar does through a food. Your blood sugar is supposed to go up to a food to get an insulin response to take it out. The issue is when you have chronic high blood sugar, not high blood sugar from a meal and it goes back down again. So all those idiots who are walking around with continuous glucose monitors in their back of their arm who are not diabetics, I want to rip them off. When I see them just at public places, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, are you type 1 or type 2 diabetic? They're like, oh, I'm not a diabetic. I want to just reach and pull the thing off their arm. It's just insane what they're doing because they don't understand human physiology. There's been a number of well-documented published studies showing, looking into, is there any benefit? Is there any benefit of people wearing continuous glucose monitors who are not diabetics over periods of time, 90-day periods, 180-day periods, looking at their A1Cs? There was zero benefit whatsoever. Absolutely zero.
I know there's going to be people watching this video and they're going to be saying, oh yeah, but you didn't listen to the whole thing. If you listen to the whole thing, he talks about how he's a diabetic, etc., etc. When they create these reels and they put them out there to the universe, they know exactly what they're doing. This is fear-mongering, baiting content.
And is he a type 1 or a type 2 diabetic? If he's a type 1 diabetic, it doesn't matter because he can just match it with his insulin through a syringe. And if he's a type 2 diabetic, he needs to understand how many units of carbohydrates, and so that's relevant for him. But when you have those units, as you know, units of carbohydrates, but you're also having fiber and you're also having fat and you're also having protein, then the impact on even a type 2 diabetic is blunted significantly. And that guy needs to weight train if he's a type 2 diabetic. That fucking guy looks like he's going to die. He has no muscle mass on his body. I'm sure he's an older gentleman. With all due respect to him, whether it be type 1 or type 2 diet, put some muscle on. Put some muscle on.
They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
This is clickbaity content, and it's to cause, and this kind of content, they put it across in a way where they put it out. They know exactly how it's going to hit. It's going to mislead a lot of people. People watch a minute 50 reel and they go away and they think carbs are bad. And this is where 100%. All this fear mongering behind carbs comes from, because the fact of the matter is not everyone is going to watch that entire podcast. Many people are going to be scrolling. They're going to see it and it's going to reinstate to them that carbohydrates are bad, because Sally at work told me the other day that carbs are bad. So I'm seeing this reel now. I thought rice was healthy. All of a sudden it's not. And then it just creates this snowball effect of fear-mongering bullshit.
They're very particular. And like the Diary of the CEO, their editors are genius. They produce some of the best podcasts out there, and they would have left that clip where Stephen Bartlett said, I thought rice was healthy. They chose that intentionally.
There's a great, one of the reasons that saunas are very popular today was one of the biggest health podcasts in the world. He's a very smart guy. I'm not going to speak ill of him because he's not going to lie to people, but he's going to tell you so much shit that is not relevant to you or anybody, but it's information. And so kudos to him. He's not lying to people, but and so one of them is he quoted a study that showed a 40% reduction in mortality for people who sauna regularly. And out of nowhere, everyone's like, I need a sauna or I'm going to die. I need a sauna, I'm going to die. Saunas that blow up. Turns out he owns part of a sauna company. That's a separate story altogether. But if you read the study, and I read the study, people who sauna regularly, there's a 40% reduction in mortality. Number one, what does it mean to sauna regularly? 4 times a week for at least 30 minutes. Who are the people out there who are sauning 4 times a week for 30 minutes? What else are they doing? The study didn't take out confounding factors. They're probably really health conscious people. They're probably working out a lot. They're probably eating very clean. If you have access to a sauna 4 times a week for 30 minutes, you probably own it. So what socioeconomic group are you in? What access to healthcare do you have? And so when you take out these confounding factors, no one's going to die young because they didn't sauna. So if you look at the invert philosophy or the invert approach to that, no one's dying young because they didn't sauna. You don't have a 40% reduction because you're sauning. It's because the people who are sauning that much and have access to sauna that much are doing so many other things to prolong their life and be healthier. Those are the reasons, not the sauna.
Absolutely.
And that's what pisses me off so much. It's the people that are over-consuming these ultra-processed foods. They're not moving enough. They're not prioritizing their sleep, their stress, all these types of things. And then they go down a rabbit hole in a 1%er and then try to demonize whole nutrient-dense foods. Honestly, just doesn't make sense.
Nope. Nope. Too many Anzac cookies.
And that cookies.
Man, that one's going to blow up the internet. Get ready for the force field in the comments.
No, by the way, my favorite cookie in the world. I lived in Australia for a bit. I was working there, and what's the department store chain? David Jones, David.
Yeah, David Jones. Yeah.
David Jones, yeah.
They have a food court, one of the best food courts I've ever seen,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had in my entire life.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever had one from there.
I read in your book that you have a choc chip cookie every day. Is that still happening?
Every day. It's some kind of pastry with chocolate in it every day of my life. And that's what powers me through. So I'll eat a healthy breakfast, healthy lunch, healthy dinner, strength train, go to bed early. I'll do everything right, but I need my cookie.
Hell yeah.
And I talk to people, ask yourself, what's your cookie? Maybe it's not a cookie. Maybe for you, it's a cube of chocolate. Maybe for you, it's I don't know, it's a third of a beer. It's something, whatever the thing is, that's your little freedom spot that makes it feel like you're not overly structured, overly regimented, that has that thing that brings you joy, that has no rules to it, so that the rest of your time, you feel good about structure and consistency.
I like that. My big message is 90% nutrient dense whole foods, prioritizing as much of that as we possibly can, but then never fearing an energy drink or a choc chip cookie or a couple of beers if you want to do that on a Friday night. If you are prioritizing these things 90% of the time, what's your philosophy if you were to wrap it up into a sentence, Harley, in terms of what people can take away? Like, what is your philosophy around, having that balanced life? For people who are listening who want to create the balanced life, like, where do they start? Like, what mindset do they need to get in to create this healthy, balanced lifestyle?
A healthy lifestyle is a sequence of habits you've built up over time. Start with one habit.
What's your
Don't
top
try and
5
change
habits?
everything.
What are your top 5 habits that people need to?
Number one, I'm that asshole who came up with the maybe came up with the 10,000 steps per day. I helped launch Fitbit many, many years ago. And so I talked about 10,000 steps per day in the World Diet. So 10,000 steps per day. I say move at least 90 minutes a day of walking. Try to get at least 90 minutes of deep sleep and REM a night. Protein, fiber, and healthy fat every meal. Follow the path. Resistance training at least 90 minutes a week. At least 90 minutes a week. That could be 3 30-minute workouts. It could be 4 23-minute workouts. It could be 5 18-minute workouts. I don't really know what the other numbers that work out to 90, but at least that per week. And fucking laugh. Enjoy. Do something that's like has nothing to do with your health. Just whatever it is. Watch something fun. Go with friends. Do something stupid. Eat something delicious. That is so important. We're looking for perfection, and trying to get those last 10% is going to cost you the original 90%. So balance is key.
Did you see the reel that I did, where I basically rage baited everyone with a Thai red curry? Did you see that one?
I don't remember. I might have. I've seen most of them.
And I used I used a Teflon pan and scraped it with a metal utensil. I used seed oils purposely. I did all the little tiny things, right? And we shouldn't be using Teflon pans that are 2 years old, but a new Teflon pan that's been looked after. If we're storing our food in plastic containers, yes, we should be trying to avoid microplastics where we can, but a little bit here and there. Like, people get caught up in these tiny little things, majoring in the minor, and they're just
majoring in the minor,
not executing the basics, man.
Well, there's a great. I don't want to get into politics because I don't want to get shot. People in the U.S. are crazy.
We can beat it out.
But there's a big movement here to get rid of a certain food dye in maraschino cherries.
Oh yeah,
and that's sort of been the main mandate of this part of the government is get rid of that, get fluoride out of water, and stop seed oils. Right. The number one cause of preventable death in the United States is obesity. Number 2 is smoking. Number 3 is actually accidents. And number 4 is mental health and drug use. So that covers, I think it's 97 or 96.5% of every preventable death.
Wow.
Who gives a shit about a dye in a cherry? And the great, someone said, it's like rearranging the deck furniture on the Titanic. That's my
Yeah.
favorite way of calling it.
I love that. That fucking
That's
thing's
great.
going down to the bottom of the Atlantic anyway. So
Yeah.
like, if you're still eating processed foods and a bunch of fucking shit, taking the seed oils out, I suppose, people get misconstrued because there's like, they take the seed oils out, which doesn't allow them to eat the processed foods, but it's not actually the seed oils so much in moderation. It's the amount of the processed foods that are being consumed.
Exactly. And now they're replacing them with beef tallow. The same
Yeah.
processed foods, but now they're using beef tallow, which is every bit of science just shows the impacts of beef tallow on cardiovascular health. But I just don't. I've given up.
It's a never-ending battle, honestly.
I'm going to sell colored sunglasses instead. That seems a lot easier.
Well, saunas, man. I heard saunas is pretty good.
Saunas, cleanses, whatever you got. Peptides. I'm going to sell it all.
Oh, yes. Peppies, mate. Let's get onto that. They as big in America right now as they are in Australia. Man, they're trending hard over here.
Yeah. And it's interesting politically. The people here that are dead set against vaccines love peptides.
Wow.
With zero
That's
human
insane.
research. They're not legal anywhere in the world. Literally zero human research. They'll stab themselves with that, but they will not have a measles vaccine. I don't know if you've read, but we have a measles outbreak in the United States
Really?
for the first time in
I've heard that,
70
yeah.
years.
Oh my God.
All right, Wes, have you got any questions before we move into the next segment to wrap things up?
This is mainly just for like personal interest. If you can just run us through what your day-to-day looks like. I'm just really curious. Like, what's a day look like in the life of Harley?
Yeah. My day is, I wake up early because I have to piss. I'm at an age where I have to piss a lot. It happens at night. And I wake up and I tan my genital area. Isn't that a thing that biohackers do? They lie in the bed.
Yeah. It's the
I
butthole
wake
sunning.
up.
Man, I've done a reel on us.
I make breakfast for the kids. I have breakfast. I head to the office. I usually do some calls before I start seeing clients. I start seeing clients at around 7 a.m. and I see clients usually from 7 until noon ish.
Is this in person or is that
In person at my office?
Nice.
I got away from seeing clients for quite a while, and I had a great conversation with do you have Nobu restaurants in
Yes.
Australia?
In
Nobu
Sydney,
Japanese restaurants.
Yeah.
He's the biggest sushi chef in the world. He helped popularize sushi today. He's got like 100 restaurants around the world. And I was at a restaurant. I saw him there in Los Angeles, and he sat at our table for a bit. And he's like, "Hold on, I got to get back in the kitchen." And this guy has 100 restaurants around the world. He has 20 hotels. He's a big deal. And I said, "You're still in the kitchen. Like, you actually still go in the kitchen." He says, "If you don't, you lose who you are. If you forget how you got there, you're not going to stay there long." And so I made sure I returned back to seeing clients. It's who I am, how I started, and I lost my identity for a while. So I see clients every morning. I have some really interesting clients. I take care of the health of some interesting foreign nationals in the Middle East, overseas. And then in the afternoons, I focus on gym design, facility design. I have a team in Toronto, Canada, and San Diego, and we do our calls. We go over projects. And that's sort of most of my days. And then I'll pick the kids up at the end of school, or I'll stop at the golf course and I'll hit a few balls out of bounds. And we have dinner as a family, and that's it. I don't really go out too much. I used to travel a lot for work. I travel a lot less these days. And that's my life. It's pretty simple.
I love it. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
2 segments. We're going to pump into some rapid fire questions, Harley, and then we're going to ask you, we've got a bit of a thing at the end of each podcast where we ask some fucked up questions. So first and foremost, we're going to go into a bunch of rapid fires, just short answers on what you would recommend and what your advice is as to what I'm about to ask you. And then I'm just going to ask you a few fucked up questions. How's that sound?
Yeah. Great.
All right. Ready for the rapid fires. Here we go. So hands on holsters, get ready. It's like we're in a Western showdown. So best carbohydrate source?
Oh, wow. It's such a simple question, but you fucking that's a best or favorite?
Either. Well, your favorite would be the best. Oh, no, go best. Best.
Best carbohydrate source.
If you were on a deserted island, and you only had one carbohydrate to take with you, which one would it be?
Jicama. It's a vegetable, big in the United States and in Mexico. It's a root vegetable. It's the highest source of vitamin C, potassium, and inulin in nature. It's like a cross between a potato and an apple, and it's about that big.
Ah,
It's higher in
sweet.
fiber than 5 bowls of oatmeal.
Wow.
It's spelled with a
would be
J,
handy one, though.
J-I-C-A-M-A.
Is that a superfood?
I mean, yeah.
Superfood.
Yeah.
All right, what's
Here
your
we
most
go.
overrated food? Most overrated food.
My most overrated food is coconut oil. Coconut oil.
High in saturated fats. Any other reason?
Yeah, it's touted as a healthy fat source. It might be potentially one of the most unhealthy fat sources in nature.
Yeah, I can't disagree. Most underrated food. One that you enjoy that not many people would know about.
Jicama.
Australia, he's back. Jicama's back, baby.
Yeah, I would say most underrated food. God, I love apples. Growing up in Canada, apple picking. I love apples. I love cold apples, hot apples, baked apples, apple sauce. I like using apples in my smoothies. I'll just sit and knock back apples. It's refreshing. It's high in water. The skin is fibrous. It's full of pectin. I love apples.
One nutrition myth that you can delete forever. You've got it. No one can know about it ever again. What is it?
Sweeteners are bad for you.
Agree. What food do people unnecessarily fear? What's one food that people unnecessarily...
Carbs. Any carbs. All carbs. Carbs.
If you had
rice,
to pick
potatoes.
one carb, what is it?
Rice.
Red rice.
Rice.
Oh my God, I thought that was one of the healthy ones.
Yeah.
That's on that fucking clip, right?
Yeah.
We kind of asked at the start. You said all celebrities have got a good work ethic, but if you had to pick one, which is the one with the best?
Oh.
Over the years, you've worked with so many of them. If you could pick one and give them a shout out, no favorites, but just one where you're like, man, your work ethic or woman is just second to none. Who is it?
So worried that they're going to, like, someone's going to see this and they're going to be, oh, you didn't say me. I'm looking at my client list. I would say...
No favorites, guys, just by the way.
I'm giving Pusha T, the rapper, my because that dude, like, he'll get up
share what's the thing that stood out? Why him?
Because he travels so much and he never uses an excuse to not get his workouts in. He's just completely awesome. But then again, that being said, as I pull up the list of people, I forget who I train. Ariana has an incredible, Gwyneth Paltrow, amazing. The Kardashians, Kim has Adam Levine. Oh, Adam Levine from Maroon 5. Amazing work ethic. I would say Charlie Puth actually has a good work. Eliza Dushku, she's been my client for 23 years. Great work ethic. Gal Gadot's amazing work ethic. I would say Jane Fonda, amazing work ethic. Jeff Goldblum is in his mid-70s and he looks incredible. He does not age. I would say Jordana Brewster, worked with her for many years, incredible work. Kiernan Shipka, amazing work ethic. Gaga, amazing work ethic.
They've all got amazing work ethics. You can't pick them.
Well, no. By the way, I am not the other half I haven't mentioned because F them. I don't. Paul Rudd, amazing work. Rob Pattinson, Robert Downey, amazing work ethic. Seth Rogen, great at work ethic.
You work with Seth before?
Great work. Oh yeah, for a long time. Will Ferrell, amazing work ethic. Zach Bryan, great work ethic. Yeah, so there's some. Lizzo, great work ethic.
Man, I love Seth Rogen. He's just such. What's he like in person? I can imagine he's just such a cool dude, right?
Everyone's cool, and if they're not, I'll never say it.
Yeah. All right. Noted. Okay, a couple more really quick ones. You mentioned that people should start walking around their block as a habit, but if someone was to start one habit tomorrow to improve their lives, what would it be?
Another habit? Go to bed Go to bed 15 minutes earlier tonight.
I love that.
And then two important ones, and I really want to get your opinion on these last two, Harley. What's something you've changed your mind on in the last 10 years that perhaps you thought was right, but now you've changed your mind into thinking that maybe it's not so right?
It's not right.
Yeah. So one thing
I
that
used to
you
do
thought
cheat
was
days. Many years ago, I used to have a cheat day. That comes from my old bodybuilding philosophy. Like I would eat clean Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday or Saturday is your cheat day, and you cheat all day, and that's the day you go to. I just think it's unhealthy. I think you almost force yourself to gorge. Rather than doing a cheat day, I do 2 free meals a week. You can do them whenever you want to do them. So you have date night Wednesday night and a party Saturday night. Those are your 2 free meals rather than an entire day.
Agreed. Do a lot of damage in a day. And last one, what health trend do you think disappears in the next 5 years? Something, whether it be carnivore, fasting. I mean, we can put peptides in there if you want. Just what's one thing in the next 5 years that you can see disappearing?
I would say the low carb, zero carb, no carb, anti-carb, that's on its way out. It already is.
I feel like it's on its way out. I feel from a distance, it's on its way out. Even carnivore and things like that, obviously, Paul Saladino, those types of people are kind of like seeing the light, right? It's just kind of coming out in the wash, which is good.
I mean, I've never met him. Maybe he's a nice person, but he's just fucking horrible for everything he posts. Horrible. He's like, I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
You have to be vegan or you're the horrible person. Now I'm a carnivore. No vegan. I don't eat any vegetables. Vegetables will kill you. Actually, I changed my mind. Everything I've said is a lie to this point. Now I eat vegetables. The guy is, talk about desperate for clickbait. It's unsettling because
I like the one where he's touching the receipt with the inside of his shirt.
Fuck him. That's the way you're scaring people from, you idiot. That's what you're going to die from. Hey, did you guys hear about the guy who was hospitalized for touching the receipt?
Yeah, he was next to the guy eating the broccoli that got obese, right? I think he had a hospital bed next to the guy eating too much broccoli. All right, here are 3 fucked up questions. Some of them not so much fucked up, but I've kind of tried to pick a few questions that resonate with you and your life, Harley. So if you could be any character from any TV show, or let's say anyone that you have personally met and trained over the years, if you could be their character, who would it be? No favorites, again, if anyone's listening. No favorites.
If I could be any of those people, who would I be? I just love watching Will Ferrell in everything he does.
Favorite Will Ferrell movie? What is it?
Favorite? Zoolander. Mugatu. I would be Mugatu. I would be sitting there with a little dog petting it. That's who I would probably be. Or actually, Will Arnett. Did you ever watch the show Arrested Development?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, it's one of my favorites. He plays a character, Job. I might be him. One of those two.
Wes, do you want to answer who you would be?
Character? Like specific, like one character?
Specific character, yeah.
Probably Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man.
Which one?
I don't even know who I would be. Yeah, which one?
Huge fan of Tom Holland. So, yeah, the newer ones.
That's how I know how old you are. Let me ask you a question, Wes. Who's the best James Bond?
Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, fuck you. Are you serious? There's no worse answer you could give. How about that? How about of the 5, you just gave the worst answer? Pierce Brosnan? Do you think he could kick someone's ass, Pierce Brosnan?
Dude, I think he's so cool.
Do you know how much hair product he has?
Oh, shit.
Matt, who's your favorite Bond?
Man, I'm not a Bond. I don't even know the Bonds, if I'm to be deadly honest with you. I don't know if that's
I'll take that answer. I'll take that over Pierce Brosnan.
I'm not a massive Pierce. I'm not a massive, I think I paid 007 on a Nintendo 64 way back in the day, but that's about it. I don't know. Who's your favorite?
What's the correct answer there?
You guys need to go back as men from a Commonwealth country, and need to watch all the Bonds. They age really well. I would say, believe it or not, Daniel Craig, who's the newer one, he might be my favorite, followed by Sean Connery, followed by Roger Moore. followed by anybody in the world other than Pierce Brosnan.
Not a Pierce fan.
Wes.
I mean, they're the only Bond movies that I've watched, to be honest. So that's why I said that. But I thought he was cool. I thought he was handsome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's an interesting one, man. I don't know what character I would be. I like real life stuff. I really like Mark Wahlberg as an actor. He's one of my favorites. Actually, Donnie Wahlberg.
He's a buddy of mine.
Donnie or Mark?
Mark's a buddy. Mark's a buddy.
Donnie comments on my stuff all the time. You know Donnie?
I don't know Donnie, but he has good taste if he's watching your stuff.
Yeah, Donnie loves the fuck or sucks. Big fan of Mark though. Say hi to him for me. Yep. I love his shit. Probably in Lone Survivor when he did Marcus Luttrell, Operation Red Wings. I like that one, the army movie. That was really good. It's probably my favorite. He's got so many good movies, but so many good movies. All right. This is a good one. Could you beat Tom Cruise in a fight, Harley?
With one hand behind my back. With one hand behind my back.
Tom, if you're listening, we want to organize a fight.
With one hand behind my back. But first of all, I hate violence. Let me just start by saying I hate violence, and I don't want anyone to get hurt ever, ever. But remember, I'm Canadian, and I played ice hockey my entire life. And you guys aren't here, but if you look at my hands, I have scars on every one of my fingers because in hockey, we beat the crap out of each other. So I can take a punch, I can give a punch. I don't think that guy's ever had a punch thrown at him before. And I hope he doesn't. By the way.
Fair enough.
For the record. I'm a fan of his work. I think he's one of the great actors of our generation. I'm a fan of his work. I hate watching his interviews because you realize that the person, Tom Cruise, is not the characters you're really liking, but so talented, fan of his work.
Yeah, that's a big thing too. I know we're going a bit over time, but it's such an interesting conversation. I've always said, Harley, that I hope to live up in real life to be the person that I would be as people perceive me to be on screen. I always want to be that person. I hate it when I ever meet someone that I've looked up to or I've followed for a long time and you get to talking to them and then it's just like, you are not the person that I thought you were going to be. So ingenuine. Would you say most of the people that you've worked with live up to that? Or is there like some people that are real actors where you're like, holy shit, you are not who I thought you were?
Yeah, I would say quite often both situations happen. You know, there's a lot of actresses when I was single, I really had a crush on, and I was like, gosh, what I would give to train them. And then you meet them and you're nervous and you've got butterflies and you meet them and you realize they're boring. That sucks. But it's probably for the best because then you can, right, you're the superstar. But sometimes they're even better than you thought. So both things happen.
Yeah, and they really stand out to the ones where you're like, holy shit, you know, you're actually a really good person.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, last fucked up question. Would you rather A, eating felt as good as sex, but you wouldn't have a penis, or B, sex made you feel like you just ate a big meal with bloating and weight gain? Would you like to hear that one again?
I think I'm going to need to hear that one again. Yeah.
Would you rather A, eating felt as good as sex, but you wouldn't have a penis, or B, sex made you feel like you just ate a big meal with bloating and weight gain?
That's a fucked up question.
Well, I saved the best for last.
Wait.
It's Barstool Sports, man. It's coming from your country.
I mean, I can't not have a dick. But at the same time, sex is bad. But wait a minute. Okay, so sex is bad, right? Mm-hmm. But can I still masturbate and enjoy that?
No.
You're not prepared for questions.
I might have to go for sex made you feel like you just ate a big meal with the bloating and the weight gain.
Yeah, I'll have that. I'll go with that.
Does it make you feel like that after sex? Like, do you still get to experience orgasm?
By the way, who's the sick bastard who came up with that? Who sits there and like, I've got a great scenario for people.
I don't know. I mean, it makes for interesting. People love it when we ask them on the pod, so I just keep them coming. But they are funny. Yeah, I think I need to keep the penis and go with the sex made you feel like you just ate a big meal. B.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a cool one. All right. I think that pretty much concludes today's
Great.
podcast. Wes, have you got
Thanks,
anything
guys.
else? Any words of wisdom? No?
From me?
Yeah.
No, because
Well, you-
what Pierce Brosnan? That's what
I don't think I can share wisdom after this. I'm kind of no.
Dude,
I just want to say thank you and sorry.
Harley, if people want to get in touch, if people want to find the Carb Reset book, where can they find you best?
you can follow me on Instagram, and you can find the book on Amazon or any of the best booksellers that you know of. You can find the book there. All my other books are also on Amazon, and if you don't want to buy the book and you just want to put some cash in an envelope and send it to me, you can do that too. So whatever you prefer. Yeah.
Harley
And if
Pasternack.
you are traveling to any of the hotels around the world where you see my gyms and you like them, please send me a little note, take a little video, and send it to me.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, Harley, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the Fuck or Suck podcast.
Likewise.
And we do appreciate all the wisdom that you have shared, and we can't wait to get this out to the universe. So, Harley, thank you so much for joining us, mate. It's been an absolute honor to have you on. And
Thanks,
guys, we
guys.
look forward to seeing you on episode 12 of the Fuck or Suck podcast.